Guys, today I will read chapter 6 of the book Rent a Bridesmaid, and we will discover about Tilly and her bridesmaid dress. And you used to remember who gave the bridesmaid dress to Tilly? It was Maddie. Maddie's is Tilly's best friend, right? And now we will discover how Tilly is going to use that bridesmaid dress for. She seemed to love it really much, very much. Is she going to be like someone's rent a bridesmaid, or what is she going to do? We will discover about that in chapter 6. Let's get started, shall we? Okay. Chapter 6. I got up 10 minutes early every day and put on the bridesmaid dress. I practiced walking slowly and solemnly as if I were walking up the aisle. And I held my head high and clapped my hand as if I were holding a posy. I even practiced bending down quickly and gracefully, touching the imaginary bride's train into place. I stood patiently, still as a church pillar, pretending the ceremony was happening, and then I marched triumphantly round my bed and back again, humming my version of churchy organ music. When Dad called that breakfast was nearly ready, I pulled off my bridesmaid dress, smoothed it down gently, rubbing my cheeks on the soft silk before slipping it back inside its protective plastic. I put on my ugly check dress for school and slopped off downstairs, back to being ordinary me again. Whenever I was bored or stuck at school, I tried to make a list in the back of my jotter of all the people I could think who might need a bridesmaid in the next year. I was small, but I was still growing. If the bridesmaid dress fitted me perfectly now, it might be getting a bit short and tight in 9th month time, let alone a year. My list was small too. No one. Dad. I had to put him first, even though I knew it wasn't very likely. Dad still loved Mom. I think he secretly hoped she might still come back, even though he told me firmly that it was never going to happen. He was particularly angry when she forgot my birthday. Oh no. No present, no card, no phone call. We've given up trying to phone her. She seemed to keep changing phones. And shortly after, we set up Skype so that I could still chat to her. She changed her email address. Dad pretended she would send him money for my birthday present and bought me swim trainer just like Maddie's, but red, and a red and blue jacket like hers, and a big box of paints. He wrote on each parcel, "Sorry this is a bit late. I hope you had a very happy birthday. Tilly, lots of love from Mom." I half believed she might have put some money in his bank account, like he said, and then a whole month late a big parcel arrived that really was from Mom. It was an odd white dress, covered with pink and red and yellow and green flowery, and a little wooden house full of strange little wooden people, most of them on their knees. The ones who were standing wore long white dresses and had brass plates stuck on their heads. There was a postcard in this parcel. It has a picture of a lady with very thick eyebrows and lots of jewelry on the front. On the back it said, "Hi from Mexico. I think I missed your birthday, sweetheart. Love and kisses, Mom." I tried on a very bright dress, but it came down almost to the floor. Like the dresses of the brass plate wooden people that said they were meant to be saints. This dress has very wide arms that flap like wings. It didn't fit me anywhere, and the material was stiff and scratchy. "It's very colorful," said Dad. "Yes, isn't it?" I said doubtfully. "Perhaps you could wear it to the party." everyone would laugh at me. Matthew wouldn't, said Dad. Matthew would laugh harder than anyone, I said. Matthew wouldn't be seen dead in a dress like this. You could take the dress to school for a show and tell, Dad suggested. You could read up about Mexico and take the house too. I bet Miss Hope would be very impressed. Dad, we don't do that kind of thing in the juniors, I said. I put the Mexican dress in my wardrobe. It stayed there ever since, right at the back. I tried keeping the house of wooden people on my windowsill, but they all had fierce eyebrows, like the lady on the postcard. It was easy to imagine they were staring at me. I couldn't forget about them, even in the dark. In the end, I put them in the wardrobe too. Do you think Mom's on holiday in Mexico? I asked Dad. Maybe, or maybe she's actually living there. Who knows? He said. I think she's on holiday, I said. I expect she'll come to see me when she gets back home, wherever her home is now. Maybe she'll still decide she wants to live with us again, Dad. Dad didn't say anything for a little while. Then he took a deep breath. I think we have to get used to the idea that Mom isn't ever coming back, he said. I couldn't get used to the idea, but I didn't argue. I wasn't sure whether Dad really meant it or not. If he did, then maybe he was ready to meet someone new. I played with the idea of a stepmother. Yes, stepmother. In my mind, in my head, all stepmothers in fairy tales were wicked. Snow White's stepmother wanted her chopped in pieces by a huntsman, and failing that, made a couple of serious attempts at poisoning her. Cinderella's stepmother didn't go that far, but she kept her as a servant and wouldn't let her go into the ball. Real stepmother didn't seem quite extreme like that. One girl in our class, Lydia Jane, and her stepmother was always nagging her, and she couldn't stake her. But Lydia Jane was a mean, lazy girl who didn't seem to like anyone. Amanda has a stepmother who saw her every other weekend. When she went to stay with her dad, she said her stepmother let her try on her makeup and have 2 puddings when they had their Sunday lunch at the pub. That sounded good. Awesome. Amanda said her stepmother was young and pretty with long hair. I wasn't so keen on having a young, pretty stepmother. Mom was the youngest, prettiest mothers ever, and look what happened. I thought Dad should go for someone kind and friendly who would like looking after us. I couldn't quite picture in my mind. She'd have to have pretty clothes to appreciate my raspberry silk bridesmaid dress. Perhaps she might be a little like Mary Berry, only younger. It would certainly be a bonus if she made us wonderful cakes. The Great British Bake Off was on television that evening. I always like to watch it. I always like cakes. I like cakes sort of that. Dad wasn't so keen and didn't really look at stuff on his iPad when it was on. Could you watch with me, Dad? I asked. Please. He pulled a funny face, put his iPad down and watched obediently. I love this program, and I love Mary Berry, I said. It is a big hint, Dad asked. Oh, Dad, how did you guess? I said excitedly. I know my girl, he said, patting my knee, but I'm not sure it's going to work, Tilly. I don't know the first thing about making cakes. I suppose I could find a recipe for a sponge cake somewhere. That must be quite simple. I could let you do the icing and decorating part. Would you like to do that, sweetheart? Oh, yes, but that wasn't actually what I meant. Dad, I wanted us to watch Mary Berry. She's lovely, isn't she? Well, yeah, I suppose so. How would you feel about marrying Mary Berry, Dad? What? He snorted with laughter. Oh, Tilly, what on earth are you going to come out with next? It was ages and ages since I've heard him laugh like that, so I didn't mind that he was actually laughing at me. I don't know what's so funny, I said. though I started to giggle myself because that laughter was so infectious. Well, of all the women in the world to suggest, to start with, Mary Berry's married already, and then she's very famous and probably very rich. Very rich. So she certainly wouldn't be interested in someone dull and ordinary like me, and for all she's quite glamorous, and she also happened to be old enough to be my mother, maybe even my grandmother. Dad spluttered. I didn't mean Mary, actual Mary Berry. I meant someone a bit like her, someone mumsy. Dad stopped laughing. Mumsy? He said. I don't mean like mom. I mean someone who acts like a mom. Ah, well, I get you now, said Dad. And I suppose you're all set to wear your bridesmaid dress at my wedding. Yes, wouldn't it be lovely, Dad? Oh, Dad, please. Tilly, I don't know any ladies like that. What about your work? The women in my office are either respectable married ladies of a certain age or young girls with lots of makeup and very high heels who goes clubbing all the time. Don't you see any likely interesting ladies on your way to work? I can't just go up to a total stranger and said, "Hello, likely interesting lady. Would you like to go out with me?" I would get myself arrested. Then you could try a dating website. I could help you write your profile. Nice kind man, middle size and middle weight. Quite good looking in that sort of way. Clever at math. Very reliable. One small well-behaved daughter. There. Brilliant. Let's put it on the website right now. Absolutely not. Don't be shy, Dad. Stop it now, Tilly. You can't actually stop me. I could wait till you're in the kitchen or asleep or something and set it all up on the website and pay with your credit card. I said. I was just joking, but Dad took me seriously. Tilly, he put me on top of his lap and tilted my chin, so I had to look him in the eye. Tilly, I understand, I really do, but I need you to put this daft idea right out of your mind. I don't want to meet any lady. I don't want to get married, and I don't ever want you going or any website using our details. Do you hear me? It's very dangerous. Anyone could answer. They could pretend anything they wanted. There are some very sick, twisted people in the world. Now promise me you won't touch my iPad and go on the internet. Not unless I'm with you and you're looking something up from school. Promise me that. I promise, Dad, I said. I crossed Dad off my list. Crossed. I didn't think of anyone else. I asked Maddie to help me when we were at school. We thought hard. Yeah, very hard. She kept asking me about aunties and cousins and friends of my family, but Dad and I didn't seem to have any. What about your mom? Said Maddie, lowering her voice. Didn't she have any friends? She got lots, heaps and heaps, but we don't see them anymore, I said. Ah, said Maddie. She fidgeted, doodling on my list. I've already sketched a border of my miniature bridesmaid dress all around the edge. Maddie's doodles were white spirals and dot and dashes, and they made the page look really messy. I didn't say anything, but I mind. Tilly, Maddie said, her head still bent, doodling away. Tilly, I know I'm not supposed to ask, but why did your mom leave? Well, I don't know, I said, but you must know, she persisted. I stared at my miniature bridesmaid dresses until they blurred into one pink ribbon. Well, she just went. You mean you woke up in one morning and she would pack her case and disappeared? No, well, almost. She's been acting a bit weird for weeks, months maybe. I can't remember properly. I said. I could remember everything, but I didn't like to. There were lots of times when Mom wasn't happy and funny and lovely. Times when she stayed in bed and pulled the covers over her head when I tried to talk to her. Times when she shouted at Dad. Times when she slammed off the house and went off for hours. hours. Yeah, it felt like she went up for years, but really she just went for hours. Sometimes I thought it was hard. It was because of me. I couldn't learn the dance she was teaching me, or kept on about something silly at school, or tried to tell jokes that weren't funny enough. Dad told me again and again that it wasn't because of me. I think it's me, he said miserably. I can't ever think of the right thing to say. I can't ever think of any romantic surprises. I never do anything exciting and romantic. We were fine for a while because she liked being looked after, but now she's bored with me. Mom and Dad had a terrible row one night. I tried not to listen, but I couldn't help it. I don't think they went to bed at all. They just stayed up shouting. Well, Mom shouted. Dad hardly said anything. They were sitting at the kitchen table when I got up the next morning. Dad was in his pajamas, his face white, his eyes red. Mom was dressed in her prettiest top and her tightest jeans. She had a suitcase by her side. I stared at the suitcase and started trembling. I'm going away for a little holiday, Tilly, she said. Oh, please don't, I cried. I ran to her and climbed on top of her lap. Can we come with you, Moms? No, Tills, I need to be by myself for a bit. I've got a lot of thinking to do. You stay with your dad and be a good girl, said Mom. But when would you be coming back? Well, I still don't know about that, honey. Dad made a little choking sound. He went out to the downstairs toilet. I pulled Mom's head closer and whispered into her ears, Can't I come with you, Mom? I hate remembering that. It was horrible of me to try to talk out on Dad too. But I just wanted to be with Mom so much. It didn't matter anyway. Mom wasn't having it. No, honey. I have to be myself. Don't stop crying, Tills. You're better off without me. You both are. Now come on, slide off my lap. I've got to go now. This is awful for all of us, she said. She kissed me goodbye and waited until Dad came out of the toilet and kissed him too. Then she walked out of the front door with one suitcase only. She didn't come back that night or the next or the next or the next or the next day. She didn't come back for months. Dad and I were so happy when she suddenly turned to the doorstep. We thought she would come back for good. She hugged us and kissed us and said how much she missed us. We didn't notice at first that she didn't have a suitcase with her. She hadn't come back. She was just visiting to make sure we were all right. She wasn't stupid. She could see we weren't all right at all. We were all wrong without her. But she still went again. She came back 3 more times. Yeah, 3 more times just for a day. She never even stayed the night. All the times in between we waited for her. Whenever we heard a car drawing up nearby, or a footstep, or the squeak of our front gate, we jumped up, ready. That was why we moved away. Dad said we had to start a new life. We couldn't stay waiting forever. I was terrified Mom wouldn't be able to find us the next time she came back. Maybe she won't come back at all, said Dad. Anyway, I left our forwarding address with the new people in our house, the neighbors, Sophie, all her friends. Mom will find us if she wants to. Mom obviously didn't want to. I didn't tell Maddie any of this. It was too sad. Very sad. I didn't tell Maddie. She was staring at me, waiting for an explanation. I just shrugged my shoulder helplessly. Oh well, she said. She chilled her pen. It was actually my pen, and she was making a little nimbly marks. Don't muck it up, I said, but then she jerked a bit off the entire top. Maddie, my pen! What up? Sorry, I didn't mean to, she said, spitting the top out. I just had a wonderful idea. What? You can advertise, offer your services, rent a bridesmaid. So that's the end of this chapter 6. Oh, Maddie said that Tilly can advertise, right? Advertise who wants to get a beautiful bridesmaid. So I think this was going to be amazing. The amazing story ever. I hope you like that. Thank you. Bye-bye.